it's definitely by far the most important plugin for electronic music and all other music in general as well. Hey guys, welcome to the harbor, welcome to the studio. Today I'm extra excited. It's Saturday, I got the full day for just making music. And as you know, I restructured my studio a little, so I can't wait to fully use it. I absolutely love this place, and it's now even heavilier acoustically treated, which gives me hopefully a better sound, clearer sound to hear more, have less mistakes in mixing, be faster and advance this way. So today I'm just sitting here working like the last 2% of one of my upcoming album songs. It's so nerdy and I don't even know what I'm doing, so there's no real point for me to try and even share it. So I thought, why not just do a video about like the #1 most important plugin that I think every producer should use and should know about and should implement into their work. And I'm sure a lot already know about it and are using it. Some might use it in a wrong way, because I actually get a lot of demos for my label, and every demo that I hear is doing it wrong. Like they're making their tracks a lot worse by just not knowing one thing. So today will be all about that, and that one plugin is actually a volume shaper. This might not sound exciting, and the people that already use it might be like, it's not so cool, but trust me, just bear with me. A volume shaper for sidechaining. I think sidechaining is like the most important technique in the last 20 years, 15 years, 20 years of music production. It's heavily used in like house music. It's heavily used in electronic music in general. And nowadays, or in the past 10 years, it's also of course used in pop music. It's used like everywhere in trap. You just need sidechaining to make kick and bass work. The two most by far important elements of any kind of song. If you screw up those two, you're lost. Mixing, impossible. If you make those two right, your song works just by using kick and bass, as you know from all of the songs you might admire that have like a kick bass kind of part in there. If it works, the song is amazing. So yeah, let me give you just a quick run through one of these plugins. There are a lot available. The one I'll show you is the one I'm using because I think it's the best, most convenient, and very inexpensive. So I got here my full finished, entirely mixed 73 tracks song called Save the Day. You heard it in the intro, you'll hear it again in the outro. I'm very proud of it because it's a big project, and like the mixing is, for me at least, like the next level. And it also partially has to do with this plugin, because I was before using another one. I don't want to call any names, but it just didn't work the same way. It's called Dodge Pro. I mean, there are also other alternatives that do very similar things, but there's some small things that I love about this. But first, let's just talk briefly about what it does. So if you haven't seen it at all, you know what's going on. So let's loop up maybe the bass section, because the bass is usually the most important to be sidechained. And you can already hear it if I bypass it. And this is quite extreme sidechain, but this is because it's like the sub bass. There is a top bass above it playing even more frequencies. And like generally it just works that you draw in whatever you want to be volume automated over time. Usually you will have it like adjusted to the kick, especially when it's the bass, and you can just change it to whatever you want. You could make this a lot longer. And what I love is this little graph right here. It shows you the audio playing, so you know where to cut, how to cut, and can avoid clicks. You can also use the smooth to smoothen it out. But basically now, whenever the kick hits, the bass is ducked. This way you have more room in the mix. Bass and kick aren't playing at the same time. The bass is going away, making room for the kick. And it sounds like one more together. You can make your track a lot louder, because every time the kick is hitting, the bass doesn't hit as well. Also very, very important is the end which is actually the beginning of the ducking. The ducking should happen slightly before the kick. And for this, I have like a little trick. If you put onto the kick the same plugin, let me check, WA Productions Dodge Pro, it will actually show you in the graph the kick. And you can now see that the kick starts there. And that's really important. There where it starts, the sidechain needs to start. So that kick and bass, especially the click, the beginning of the kick, the impact, it needs to be alone, 100%. And this way it's like easy. I wish maybe it's something that is implemented and I don't know about it, but I wish they had like a sidechain feed that feeds in the audio just for the visuals. So I don't have to open up another one on the kick. I can just like watch the kick in there. That would be amazing. Then what else? I mean, you can like also use it for gating and like all fancy kind of stuff and do funny rhythms and everything like that. But I think most people will use it for sidechaining. And where are the basics? No, I need the ducking. Yeah, that one. And you can also then, of course, like mix it and choose the length. The smoothing is really important to get rid of the clicking. That one. That's not good. Like, definitely get rid of that click by smoothing it out. And like setting all of this correctly, like having the groove in there, making sure the start of the kick is free. Like, that's what most people do wrong. I hear a lot of songs with a lot of sidechaining because everyone knows about it, but it seems that no one cares about setting it up properly. If you set it wrong, it ruins your rhythm of the song, it ruins the groove, it can make the kick appear too loud, too quiet, or like destroy the bass entirely. You have to be really careful, especially if you have big sounds. I mean, on a sub bass, no problem. But let's say you have like a lead sound, a sound that goes through like almost all of the frequencies. Let's say you're making like big room EDM, kick, main synthesizer. That is your bass and your synthesizer, your top, everything, probably 5, 6, 7 layers to make a sound that is fat enough to be like the entire track. Then it gets a little tricky because if you start ducking, let me maybe demonstrate it on the main synth. Yeah, I got a bus for that. The main synth in my case is maybe not the best example because it's just playing like the upper frequencies mostly. But still, we could like add the sidechain to it. And you can now hear that the attack of the synth is going away whenever the kick hits, which is not really nice. So we could go in here, again, this sound is not the best example. We could go in here and separate the low, the mids, and the high frequencies. We can also decide the crossover frequencies here with this little slider and sidechain them differently. Usually you would do like the heaviest sidechain for the kick, and then for the mids you would maybe sidechain slightly less, and for the high frequencies maybe just the very, very beginning, or maybe not sidechaining it at all. And then it also shows you, which I love, it shows you right here, these 4. Shows you exactly that the red one is ducked the most, the yellow one a little less, the green one not at all, and you can like solo every single band, listen to it, and adjust it accordingly. So like the multi-band aspect of it is really important and can be handy from time to time. I like just for fun started this morning an edit back at home of a song, and like to get rid of the kick, I used this sidechain. I sidechained the low frequencies, which removed the kick of that song, and I could replace it with my kick, but left the other frequencies without the sidechain so that you don't have that obvious pumping going on. And then again, like this graph that is in there is quite nice. I have to hurry up a little. I still have a little bit of work ahead of me. But yeah, if you
catch that. Could you try again?
No, Siri. Why is my Siri in English? Why is it a male voice? I don't know what happened. Anyways, if you're interested, I'll link it down below. If you already have one that does all of it, then again, that tip with the beginning of the kick, move it a little, do multi-band sidechain if necessary, And yeah, I mean, it's definitely by far the most important plugin for electronic music and all other music in general as well, because getting your kick and bass tight and neat and making your song loud is mostly possible due to sidechaining. There are of course other factors, but I think that's like the biggest that you should nail and do right, otherwise it just sounds really awkward. All done, finally. I think now that it's like done mixing that song. I've already mixed it 3 times, 4 times. Took it to mastering, wasn't satisfied, went back to mixing. I think I got it. And the difference is quite substantial actually. Like all of the reverbs, I've redone all of them. I'm hearing them differently. I've adjusted them to taste before. They were all a little like washed out and too long and too big, and now it's all tight and neat. So yeah, enjoy the outro. That's it for today. I'll play you the before and after version. The things that I changed, like all of the elements are the same. The only things that are changed, like me in this room, I changed the reverbs, the volumes, some EQs, and all of the sidechaining. So you can hear for yourself what it does. It's a 5 to 10% difference. 5, maybe.